All right, what's up, guys? I've got my rifle here. I recently had to zero. I kind of tell you a little bit about it. It's been checked, cleared. We'll put it on fire and go ahead and render it rack safe. So we'll talk more about this here in a little bit. So here is my zero target. Last time I was out, January 28th, is about 60 degrees was the high. By the time I was shooting, it was probably in the 50s. The problem was I went through about 3 boxes of ammo, not hitting targets that I know I should be able to hit. I noticed the impacts on the dirt. They were like 12 and 8-inch gongs at 200 yards and larger silhouette plates at 400. I wasn't hitting them, even though I know this thing was zeroed and shooting targets out to 600 in one of the classes I was in. So I said maybe something's happened to the zero. It's been pretty reliable about it, so I don't know if it's a shift in temperature. I don't case the rifle, so it being banged around in the back of the car just might have all these things come together to get the zero to come off. So 100 yards, all right, I had 2 dots, right, as my reference points. I start with the bottom dot. I'm just doing 3-round groups just to save ammo because I did burn through a lot of ammo during some training before and then trying to figure out what was wrong with me. I got on my buddy's rifle, which was zeroed better, and was able to hit the target, so I knew it wasn't me. These are targets that I hit all the time. So anyway, so I'm gonna explain a little bit of the process on how I zero. I will say this is probably a 90% zero, 95% zero. I wanna refine it, and I'll explain to you how I can refine it. So basically, point of aim is here, right? My first group at 100 yards was here, right? So that's pretty way off. You take 200 yards, that's gonna double that distance, 300, and then 400, you're significantly off, your feet off the target. So I made an adjustment, right? I had my clicks to the right and down. I had to make some adjustments. Now, higher end optics are a little bit more reliable on what clicks they are, but some of the more budgety stuff, right? Like 2 clicks, 1 inch at 100 yards, it's an approximate, right? So you sometimes have to go a little further or less. Made my first adjustment, and I brought it down here, right? So I triangulating, right? I like to do more than 3-round groups at the end, but not when I'm just trying to get on paper because I'm just looking at a broad movement, right? And if I was totally off paper on this first group, I would have brought the target closer and then get on paper, and then you make big adjustments and then bring it down and then push it back to 100. Right, so that was my second group, right? So I made some more adjustments my next set and then went a little too far, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got a little bit more centered here, right? I said, this is pretty good. So took it up to this target. And then again, your barrel's starting to warm up, temperature changes, has a little bit of an effect, right? I'm just using Wolf steel case for all this. And again, I've taken this stuff out to 600 yards, hitting 24-inch plates pretty consistently. So made a couple more adjustments, moved it a little bit over. It's within here, right? And I went and confirmed, was hitting plates at 400 and 500.
Whenever you're ready. I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't see it, but I heard it. Yeah, I can't see the impact, but I can hear it.
However, I will say this needs more refinement. Why? So let's look on the back of the target. All right, this is something I learned from John Shrek McPhee, who that's who I train under, right? First, we've got the crosses, and the crosses are centered with with the target, right? And what you're looking to do is, it's a different way to look at where the groups are, right? So first group's here, my second group was here, third group, fourth group, right? Now, we get to the final grouping. Why I said this is a 90-95% grouping is 5th group's here, 6th group's here, right? And I would say here, I need to bring it back to the center, maybe make a height adjustment. I don't know. I would want to put more rounds in to make sure that I've got a true tail to tape, right? Because one of these could be a flyers. That's the problem with turning groups. I was running at ammo. This is the best I could do, and still have ammo to confirm with, right? So what I want to do here is I want to go bring it in to the left, right? This is opposite because it's back target. Bring it into the left a few clicks, maybe 2 or 3 clicks, and see where that puts me. And then I make a height adjustment based on that. The height is pretty average. The height might be good, but I really want to have those extra clicks. It's going to really tighten the zero. So when you start shooting the small gongs at 300-400 yards, you can make those hits, and then it makes it easier at 500 and 600 yards, where a little bit of difference at 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, right? That's 6 to 8 inches that you could be off potentially. And if you're dealing with windage and things like that and drop and calculating all that stuff, it could be the difference between a hit and a not hit, and then gives you more precision against smaller targets at distance. So this is kind of where I'm going to take it next. And understanding the temperature change between like winter and summer, I generally seasonally like the zero. It's about time that I zeroed. It was just pushed ahead of schedule because of it being so far off. To me, that's not acceptable to have a fighting rifle or defensive rifle or whatever that doesn't have a proper zero. I mean, to me, it's just like, it's just pointless. It's just a paperweight. So I'll talk a little bit about this. This is nothing really fancy, right? This is an arrow lower that I built out using, I believe, a USGI parts kit. This is a BCM stock that I traded for against the B5 Satmon style stock. I like these a little bit better. It's a little bit smaller form factor, still has a little bit of cheek welds. The upper is a Palmetto State Armory. It's the FN barrel upper, right? So it's got the FN cold hammer forged chrome line barrel. And again, I'm taking this out with the proper zero out to 600 yards with cheap Soviet ammo. So it's very capable. Don't think you've got to spend a lot of money to get something that's capable. Having the older style front sight post, this is just an aesthetic thing that I wanted. But it does make it the upper cheaper standard A2 flash hider. The rails are Troy clones of the CAC ones. So these do have an NSN number. So take that for what you will. Just a Daniel Defense foregrip. This is more of a kind of like allows me to have more of a hand rest. However, it gives me some purchase if I do want to do other things like grab it to do a strike or something, right? Just whatever. Like I just have having a little bit there. The bolt carrier is a Toolcraft. I think the bolt is Carpenter 158. It's just one of the higher end standard BCGs from Palmetto State, right? And then charging handle, I think this is just a Spikes Tactical, just real basic stuff, right? I don't run charging handles a lot other than loading, than charging the rifle. So I don't really care for that. I do have standard ones on other rifles. I will say the BCM one that I have on my Ruger is a little too extended, right? Then I have the Geisley Airborne one, which is a lightweight one. That has a small form factor, so that one is a really good choice. If you want to spend the money on it, it's a great charging handle. But I just went with just stock stuff like that. BCM grip, I like these because they're bigger, they're vertical, and they've got the storage in here. These have got the storage as well. And then I just run, these are like the $150, $120 probably now. Older generation Hollow Suns. It's got the Shake Awake. And then I've got the complimentary Hollow Sun 3x magnifier. Again, this setup is literally where I've taken out to 600 yards, making consistent hits. Plates all the way out to that distance at every 100 yards. What I've got is this Magpul old school kind of like ring mount. I had to mount it backwards so that way I could get the light in the place that I wanted it. And this is just one of the Surefire, what is it, the GLX maybe? I'm not sure, but it's like their $67 Surefire. Super cool. It's got, it's got the low intensity and double press it, and you get the high intensity, right? So you give a couple of options, and plus you click it on, right? So I think double click, and then you can keep it on if you need to. So pretty good with that. As far as the slings, SOB Tactical Bitch Sling, the B Sling, right? And that's a good sling. What it does is a little bit different from other ones is that this one is designed to tighten, but the primary quick function instead of tightening is to sit there and pull this and it'll loosen quickly, right? So you have it tied to your body, you want to get it loose quicker versus trying to tighten it quickly, right? So a little bit, that's kind of like the design for it. Other than that, I don't know of anything particularly special about it. You know, paint job, I've done videos on this. I've got my silicone band from SOB Tactical. I use this to cinch down my sling. But again, it's always, most of the time it's generally the shooter. Rarely is it the gun unless you really got a crappy gun. But generally, if you've got a good barrel and you've got a good zero and you've got good factory ammo, you can make your hits. But it's dialing in the details for those zeros. So next time I go to the range, I'll use the same target, set it up, and then try to dial it in to where my groupings are really just tracking here. And then you can use the same target to kind of track your zero over time. It just gives you that a couple more clicks that will be that much better. So guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.